Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here, we're live. Thank you all for joining me today. Please, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Telegram because that's extremely important to circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And make sure you hit the like button as well. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's show, man. I got a very interesting and fun show. At least it's going to be a little fun for me. We're going to give the news, but with a sprinkle of ridicule on top of it. Why is that? Because today we're heading on over to the People's Republic of Chicago to speak on the man formerly known as Emperor Brandon Johnson. Why do I say that? Right, to start this off. Um, it's about time for me to change his nickname. I've been calling him the Emperor of the People's Republic of Chicago for, I guess, like close up to 2 years now. But I think Emperor Brandon Johnson has run his course. Last video I did about Chicago, I referred to him as Mr. Slavery for obvious reasons that I'm going to explain once again. And I think it's about that time, right? The Emperor of Chicago is out. Mr. Slavery is in. That is Brandon Johnson's new name. Why do I say that? Because this is a man who, if you ask him anything, there is no question on this planet that you can ask him where he will not, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, find a way to bring up slavery, segregation, Jim Crow. He loves to talk the pro-black talk, while at the same time, this is the very man that's pushing the black people that he pretends to care so much about out of their neighborhoods. They swore up and down to you that Trump was your enemy and that he was the one that you need to be on the lookout for, that he was going to bring back slavery. Mr. Slavery, Brandon Johnson, he told you that Donald Trump wanted to relitigate the Civil War. He told you that Donald Trump wanted a rematch of the Civil War because he didn't like the outcome. But lo and behold, as I'm going to show and prove to you today, it's Brandon Johnson, the very man that talks foolishness to you like this that I'm getting ready to play, is the same man that's kicking you out of your neighborhood. Shame on you for falling for this nonsense. Look at it. Let's listen to some of the nonsense of Brandon Johnson before we get into the facts of him kicking you guys out of your neighborhood. Look at this here. Let me play this.
Transformation that this city is looking for, but make no mistake about it, there are those who are intimidated by this level of power, right? Because in some instances, those who held the power before are living in their own guilt and shame. And so they are intimidated by this sight, but we have to demonstrate to the rest of the world what it means not just to come together for our people, but how our liberation benefits all.
You fell for that, huh? You fell for that. That's crazy. Shame on you for falling for that, because he's the same guy that's kicking you out of your homes right now. This is the same man that increased your property taxes up to 200% while not increasing the taxes of those in the white liberal communities on the north side. He didn't increase the taxes up that much. Their property tax went up below 10%, but yours went up 200%. That's crazy work. That is crazy work. And I don't feel bad for you. And the reason I don't feel bad for you is because Brandon Johnson, just like Zorhan Mamdani, Brandon Johnson told you he was going to do all of this. This is what he told you. He promised two things when he was running for mayor. He told you that he was going to prioritize illegal immigrants and their well-being and making sure that they have everything that they need. Remember, I used to religiously cite these articles here. Look at this. Mayoral challenger Brandon Johnson unveils plan to help migrants, refugees, and immigrants. Remember this article here? I used to talk about it all the time. Chicago mayoral candidate Brandon Johnson unveils plan to support migrants. He promised you he was going to take care of illegal immigrants by any means necessary, no matter the cost. And he promised to tax the rich, which always turns into taxing you. And I knew it was over when Bernie Sanders endorsed him way back then. Because for those of you who don't know, I've been covering Brandon Johnson since the moment he came into office. I literally did a show about his inauguration ball. When Bernie Sanders endorsed him way back in March of 2023, I knew it was over. And what's crazy is that when you listen to Paul Valles and his surrogates talk, as we're getting ready to do right now, he told you everything that Brandon Johnson is going to do. And we're all seeing it coming to fruition. So I know I don't feel bad for you. You brought this on yourself. That's what you get for voting blue, no matter who. Let's watch this video clip here. Check this out and smash the like button if you haven't already.
Senator Bernie Sanders, who came to Chicago last year for a rally for progressive congressional candidates, will be returning next Thursday for a Get Out the Vote rally with Brandon Johnson.
Anytime you get a popular national political figure like Bernie Sanders out for your campaign, it's a big plus. He's going to bring media attention. He's going to bring energy. He's going to bring credibility.
Sanders could motivate progressives along with young voters who are part of his base, but who largely stayed home for the February election.
So a rally like this with the Bernie Sanders could help energize those voters and perhaps make the difference in the final result.
Today, Paul Valles joined with Alderman Roberto Maldonado along with members of the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce who endorsed him in the race for mayor.
We need to support candidates that have a record and will continue to support local businesses and promote economic growth. Paul Valles' opponent backs a number of new and expanded taxes on businesses and middle-class workers.
Valles downplayed.
Is that not what's going on right now? Is that not what's happening right now? Everything that she just said is playing out exactly how she articulated it and exactly how Brandon Johnson said he was going to do things. And understand, in New York City with Zohran Mamdani, you guys are next. You guys are next. You're the next Chicago. Mark my words. And now all of you who voted for Brandon Johnson are crying crocodile tears, specifically the Black citizens of Chicago. Now you're crying because you're being forced out of your home from the very man that pretended to care about you so much. Let me get into this clip next. Check this one out right here. Look at this. Let's listen to this.
Right now, community leaders on Chicago's West Side are sounding the alarm over what they call an immoral and orchestrated land grab.
So skyrocketing property taxes that we have covered, including some that have more than doubled, could lead to longtime homeowners and businesses losing everything here. Christian Farr is joining us with what these leaders want done right now and why they say time is running out here. Christian?
Yeah, they have been fighting for some time now. Now, last night there was an emergency town hall where hundreds of outraged West Side residents demanded relief from rising Cook County property taxes. There was a big increase in the South and West Sides, but other more affluent communities were not hit as hard.
There was a huge increase on South and West Sides, poor Black neighborhoods, but that same increase didn't occur in more affluent neighborhoods, the white liberal neighborhoods. They also pretend to care about Black folks a lot. Oh, they pretend to care about you so much, but in the end, Brandon Johnson was doing their bidding. He didn't tax them like how he taxed you while giving you a pro-Black speech that he himself doesn't actually believe. Let's look at how high these property taxes have actually risen. Let me fast forward just a little bit because this is crazy. This is completely out of control. But then again, this is what you guys voted for over there. This is what you wanted, right? You wanted Brandon Johnson and you got him. Check this out here.
With West Garfield Park seeing a 133.
Rewind it back just a little bit more.
Taxes went up.
The Cook County Treasurer's Office says the South and West Sides were hit the hardest, with West Garfield Park seeing a 133% increase in property taxes and Inglewood seeing an 82% increase. But 17 North and Northwest Side communities saw increases under 10%, and more specifically, affluent Lincoln Park was hit with only a 5.9% increase.
For those of you who don't know, those are affluent white liberal neighborhoods. Those are the same people that are at ICE facilities fighting to get illegal immigrants, released into the interior of the United States. Those are the same white liberals that are fighting for open borders while at the same time benefiting from putting Brandon Johnson in office and hiking taxes on, the poor folks of the South and West Side so that they don't have to have their taxes raised in their neighborhood. Diabolical. Diabolical. But once again, because you fall for foolishness like this, what I'm going to play for you next, this is why this happened. I want to play another clip of Brandon Johnson, right, Mr. Slavery, speaking nonsense about black businesses. Once again, stuff that he doesn't believe, right? Stuff that you say to get votes and to, keep the confidence of those who voted for you while taking the taxes and moving them in other places, primarily his pocket and for illegal immigrants. Look at this nonsense here. Let me play this for you very quickly. Look at this.
That there's this claim that somehow having $18 million that we would secure from the community safety surcharge to go back into smaller businesses and particularly black-owned businesses is some sort of nefarious operation. That's their claim. They are immoral, they are wicked, and it's well past time that the people of Chicago actually know and see who these individuals are. Know who they are. They do not mean us well.
No, you don't mean the people of Chicago well. You don't mean the people of Chicago well at all. You're actually destroying the city. You're running businesses out of the city. You're getting people kicked out of their homes intentionally. And what's even more diabolical when we're talking about Mr. Slavery here, Brandon Johnson, is that the practice that he's using is so dirty. It's so dirty, right? Because either these poor residents, right, the poor citizens in the South and West Side, you have one of two options. Either you can lose your home outright, or you're going to be forced to sell your home way beneath the actual value of it, just so you don't lose it. So either way, you're getting hosed. Either you get nothing or you get close to nothing. And then they're going to redo that neighborhood in whatever image that they want to create it in. I mean, primarily, most likely, it looks like with the, Venezuelan migrants that they moved into your community. Because remember, the Venezuelan migrants, Biden's migrants, that is, right? They gave them free housing. Remember? I used to talk about this stuff all the time last year and the year prior to that. They gave them free housing. They set them up with free furniture, free everything. So while they gave illegal immigrants free housing, literally in the South and West Side, that's what they did. They gave it to them there in your neighborhoods. They're simultaneously raising property taxes to kick you out. Diabolical, man. But once again, it's what you voted for. It's what you wanted. So now what I want to do next is that I want to get into the crocodile tears, right? I want to get into some of the crocodile tears right now. And I see, shout out to, who's that? Lisa. I'll just say Lisa. I won't try to pronounce the last name. You said not all the South Side of Chicago are minority neighborhoods, but they're the only ones crying. They're the only ones crying. Why is that? That's what I want to know. Why is that? They're the only, and we're going to get into that right now. Let's get into the crocodile tears, as the wailing and gnashing of teeth is loud due to their actions of voting for this lunatic. Check this out next.
Chicago's West Side.
Rewind this back just a little bit and take two. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. I'd really appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to follow me on Telegram. It's extremely important that you do that so you get to keep the notifications flowing, minus the nonsense of YouTube.
Now to Chicago's West Side. Pastors and homeowners there say they're being hit with property tax increases so steep they could push families out of their homes. Bills have doubled, even tripled, with the West Garfield Park neighborhood seeing a 133% spike. NBC5's Christian Farr has their story.
I've had to go out and hustle, put my life on the line, drive an Uber just to pay my property tax.
Many West Side residents.
I don't mean to be bogus and just laugh while he's talking, but I mean, like I said, man, I'm just being so honest with you. I don't feel anything. I just don't, because there's no you're a vote blue no matter who. Or there's no reasoning with you. There's no reasoning with you. I tell you anything about a non-black politician or a conservative politician or whatever, you immediately default to something about racism and white supremacy, and due to Brandon Johnson, start talking about slavery and Jim Crow for no reason. So there's no reasoning with you. Therefore, here you are. Now you're crying about what Brandon Johnson is doing to you. That's why I can't help but to chuckle, because you did it to yourself and you refuse to listen to reason.
Spike. NBC5's Christian Farr has their story.
I've had to go out and hustle, put my life on the line, driving Uber just to pay my property tax.
Many Westside residents and clergy gathered outside of the Cook County Assessor's office to express outrage after their property tax bills skyrocketed. Business owner Malcolm Crawford said his bill more than doubled.
It's just a few bills that I got, and this one is $11,000. This one is $12,000. The other ones are $7,000, and I have more. And with these, and I'm supposed to come up with this money by the 15th. You have.
Oh my God. Brandon Johnson is expecting that man to come up with $100,000 by the 15th. That's in what, 3 days? Okay, well, let's listen to that again. Wow. Mr. Slavery is destroying you guys right now. But Trump is racist, right? Some way, somehow, when this is brought up to Brandon Johnson at a press conference, he'll find some way to blame Trump. He always does. He'll find some way to do it, even though it's Brandon Johnson that's doing it to you.
Outrage after their property tax bills skyrocketed. Business owner Malcolm Crawford said his bill more than doubled.
It's just a few bills that I got, and this one is $11,000. This one is $12,000. The other ones are $7,000, and I have more. And with these, and I'm supposed to come up with this money by the 15th.
You have the poorest people in the poorest neighborhoods with the largest increase.
The Reverend Marshall.
Can you say that one more time, please? I thought Brandon Johnson said that they weren't going to balance the budget on the back of working people. He likes to say that a lot. We're not going to balance our budget on the back of working people. That's why we have to keep putting investments in the community, and investments and investments and investments and more investments. These magical investments, these non-tangible investments that apparently he's sprinkling all over the community that you don't know where it is, you know, what it's doing, what's happening, but he's sprinkling these magical investments all over Chicago that you never see the fruit of. It's amazing how this man is able to BS you guys to this degree in Chicago. And you'll vote blue no matter who next mayoral election. You'll do it again. You'll do it again. You'll do it again. At this point, to be honest with you, I wouldn't even be surprised if you guys put Brandon Johnson back in office. I wouldn't be surprised, to be quite honest with you. But let's carry on.
I have more. And with these, and I'm supposed to come up with this money by the 15th.
You have the poorest people in the poorest neighborhoods with the largest increase.
The Reverend Marshall Hatch and others say communities like West Garfield Park face a 133% increase in their property taxes.
Pause. Thank you very much, Letitia, for pointing this out. She said Pastor Hatch, who you just saw holding all those bills in his hand. I had some envelopes somewhere as a prop. I don't have it now. But he had all those envelopes in his hand saying, I got $10,000 and $17,000 and $15,000 bills and over $100,000 in bills. And I got to find a way to pay all this off by the 15th. And according to Letitia, she said, Pastor Hatch is flip-flopping because he was standing for the influx of immigrants. It's just what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Goofy for no reason. Just goofy for no reason. I'm sure he was one of those many pastors that Brandon Johnson would have when he was during, when Biden was in office, and he was trying to justify all the hundreds of millions of dollars that he was raining down on illegal immigrants coming into Chicago. When he would justify this stuff, he would always have a whole bunch of other black people behind him, black pastors. And according to Letitia, the same pastor that's now complaining, Pastor Hatch, the same pastor that endorsed Brandon Johnson, that stood behind Brandon Johnson, that justified the influx of illegal immigration into Chicago for Brandon Johnson, is now the same one that's sitting here holding $100,000 worth of bills, getting ready to lose his business because he can't afford to pay that by the 15th, which is in the next 3 days. Diabolical, but that's what you get. That's what you get.
Last month, the Cook County Treasurer's Office confirmed that this would be the largest property tax increase in 30 years.
We are just as upset and believe that it's unjust that the Board of Review continues to shift on the burden to homeowners in particular by giving large reductions and breaks to commercial businesses in the loop.
The assessor's office.
No. Don't. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. They're not getting. She wants to try to do the whole business owner. You see, she's doing the whole socialist because they're not taxing the rich. The common man is getting taxed. No. They're not taxing the white liberals that are your friend, the friend of people of color. They're not taxing them either. Okay, they're not taxing their property. The affluent white liberal, right, who loves illegal immigrants, their property taxes went up no more than 10% at the most, while yours went up 133%, some even 200%. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do this whole socialist thing she's trying to do, where she's talking, well, the problem is that we're not taxing the rich. The problem is that they're giving tax break to businesses in the loops. No, the problem is that you're taxing people of color that you pretend to care so much about out of existence. That's what the problem is. But carry on.
Office is pointing the finger at the Cook County Board of Review.
I'm going to rewind it back just a little bit, and then I'm going to try not to interrupt it anymore.
Businesses in the loop.
The assessor's office is pointing the finger at the Cook County Board of Review, which hears property tax appeals. But at least one of its commissioners says the assessor's recent increases are overreaching.
He's over-assessed those properties, and he can lower them. He's done it for the northern suburbs, and he can do it for West Garfield Park, Lawndale, and other African-American communities.
No, he can't, because he's trying to get you out of there. He's trying to get you out. Well, he's trying to kick you out, okay? That's the point. That's the purpose. So, no, it's not going to happen.
Lawndale and other African-American communities.
The people who review those assessments, they need to come together and give blanket relief for the communities that are being disabused the most.
On the west side, Christian Farr, NBC 5 News.
I don't believe that they should get blanket relief. I believe that you should get precisely what you voted for. This man, Brandon Johnson, told you everything that he was going to do. And he's doing it to the T. To the T. And some of them that are complaining, like Pastor Hatch, you stood behind him, validating Brandon Johnson. And now he's turned on you. And now you're crying. The wailing and gnashing of teeth is strong. Yet, Chris, it's shameful. It's shameful, Chris. It is shameful what we're seeing here. Shame on you for flip-flopping. Stand next to Brandon Johnson. Don't cry now. And look at this here. It gets worse or funnier, depending on how you look at it, or more comedic. It's kind of more comedic to me, to be quite honest. I'm being completely honest with you. Do you remember the Southshore apartments, right? The Southshore apartments in Chicago was those are the apartment complex over there that was largely filled with Venezuelan migrants that were placed there by Brandon Johnson, right? It used to be a predominantly black like apartment complex, but like they push all black folks out and put, Venezuelan illegal immigrants in there. Remember, Trump and Holman and the gang, they removed the worst of the worst out of that building. But then people like Brandon Johnson were peddling lies, right? Peddling lies, saying that, ICE was taking out, black children in zip ties, you know what I mean? And throwing them in the back of vans, and, black men were in chains with their shirt off, and all type of craziness that he was saying. That just wasn't true. Well, I would like to update you guys on what's happening at the Southshore apartments now, because the Venezuelan illegal immigrants are gone, right? Tom Holman and the gang got them up out of here. It's only the very few black residents that are left. And what we're going to see here is that they're being kicked out of the apartment complex. You can't make this stuff up. They're getting kicked out and on the verge of being homeless. Shout out to Brandon Johnson. Can I play this one more time before I play the Southshore clip? Let me play this. Let me play this. I want to play this one more time.
The transformation that this city is looking for, but make no mistake about it, there are those who are intimidated by this level of power, right? Because in some instances, those who held the power before are living in their own guilt and shame. And so they are intimidated by this sight. But we have to demonstrate to the rest of the world what it means not just to come together for our people, but how our liberation benefits all.
Y'all fell for that garbage over there, what? Y'all fell for that. Exactly, Monique. Stop voting blue. They won't. They won't. They won't. They're going to keep doing it. Once again, everybody that you see standing there around Brandon Johnson, you can't lie to me. You voted for Brandon Johnson solely because he's black. That's why you voted for him. I played the clip already earlier of Paul Valles and his team and his surrogates when they were talking. And to the T, they mapped out and told you everything that Brandon Johnson was going to do. And it wasn't that hard to do because they were just citing his policy points that he was running on. And here we are, and he's doing everything that he said he was going to do. And now those same people that are standing here with him while he's sitting here talking about some all liberation, they scared of all liberation because the people that were once in power now have guilt. And they see how our people can turn this around and make it Wakanda. While he's talking this nonsense to you, those same people that voted for him are now getting kicked out of their neighborhoods because of that serpent that they're standing in front of. Diabolical, man. Brandon Johnson is a serpent. This man is the snake of all snakes. But Donald Trump's a racist. Never forget that, right? In some way, somehow, this is Trump's fault. But let's get into Southshore apartment complex, okay? Let's get into this next.
A judge denied allowing tenants more time to move out of 7500 Southshore Drive. She called the building a fire trap for numerous safety issues. She says she's trying to protect the tenants by getting them out of a dangerous situation. Some residents tell us they don't have anywhere to go.
We are in an emergency situation. Some of us are still stuck in this building. Some of us have been stuck in this building. Friday is our last day.
Tenants of 7500 Southshore Drive have 4 days to move out. They are being evicted after weeks of legal action over dangerous conditions reported in the building. Some of those conditions allegedly left after federal agents raided the building in September. The Trump administration released a highly produced video of the incident.
It took a military invasion to get the city to pay attention. We did not cause this building to deteriorate. And yet we have to live with the consequences of it.
Can we stop and listen to what he just said? He said it took a military intervention, the ICE raid, to get the illegal immigrant Venezuelan gang members out. He said it took a military intervention to get the city to pay attention. Bars. I'm rapping. That's what he said. I guess he was rapping, right? It took a military intervention to get the city to pay attention. And the irony in all this is that once the city started paying attention, they said, oh, okay, so get out. Let this sit on your mind for a moment. Once the Venezuelan illegal immigrants were removed from that building, and all that was left were the handful of black residents that were still living there that Brandon Johnson said were getting dragged out in chains. Now he's kicking them out of that building. Let me tell you something. There is not a man alive who can shame me for wearing this. Okay. Let me tell you something. Y'all are crazy over there. Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. Y'all fell for the okie doke so bad. You fell for the okie doke so bad. And what's crazy is the same okie doke that they've been playing on you for years and years and years. Post-civil rights movement. The same okie doke. It's not like it changed. they keep hitting you with the same move, and you go for it every time. And now here you are, getting ready to get kicked out of your apartment complex. Brandon Johnson's literally pushing all of the black folks out of the south and west side of Chicago. He's kicking you all out. But this guy's the racist, right? He's the racist. He's the one that was going to bring back slavery, right? This is the guy who's going to bring back Jim Crow, right? This is the guy who's going to put you back on the plantation, right? It was him, right? That's what you guys told me, right? No. The entire time, it was Brandon Johnson. The entire time. And I can't even imagine what it would have been like if Kamala Harris got in office. You know? Let's get this super chat here. The very first one. I appreciate you, Ross, for always showing love via super chat, and you're a channel member. Thank you so much. Ross said, check out my DM. I got Ross goes hard to pay for Chicago Flips Red. I'm gonna check it as soon as I get off. She said, check out my DM, interview Chicago Flips Red. Zoe and Danielle are my colleagues in Chicago, Chicago W. I'm sure maybe Chicago West Side. Chicago Flips Red. Okay, I got you, Ross. I'm gonna check out your DM. I'm gonna check it out. I got you. Okay, I got you. And you know, man, with all that being said, that's gonna do it for today's stream. I mean, what more can I say? Other than please hit the like button. Okay, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. Please don't forget to follow me on Telegram. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section at TD Media Group. That's extremely important as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace. Have a great afternoon. And remember, this guy right here apparently is racist. Not Brandon Johnson. This guy doesn't like black people. Brandon Johnson loves black people. That's why he's kicking you all out of your homes and your apartment complexes. Diabolical, man. It's crazy. That's why I don't feel bad for you.